Hello everyone, are you ready for another adventure? It's me, Woki, and I'm back with another fake Grand Order video. And what are we going to be talking about today? Well, obviously, we're about to get the third summoning campaign for Paper Moon. So today's video is going to be mainly focused about talking about Durga. So that's going to be, I mean, some other things too. Mainly, even if you want Durga, is it a good time to be summoning for Durga when you're so close to anniversary? I don't know. We'll talk about it. That's going to be today's video. Hope you like it. If you do, you can leave a like, comment, and subscribe. It helps out the channel. So, Paper Moon. So, even though we are a month behind on JP, funny enough, our dates actually lined up. We actually released ours May 18th, and this came out June 18th. And then the same was true for Paper Moon Summoning Campaign 2, which came out on the 21st. So, on the 25th, that's when this Durga Summoning Campaign is going to be released. So, funny how that worked out, that it doesn't happen very often where even when the month's different, the days lined up, so they can still kind of be closely remembered next to each other. And this summoning campaign will feature, again, Durga and Duryodhana, as you can see here, and also these craft essences, which are going to be on the banner, just not on Rate Up. There you go. You can, when you get an unfeatured 4-star, you could look at these and go, man, it could have been one of you potentially, but it wasn't. It was that one. And to quickly just go over Duryodhana, he is a story lock servant. So if you are a big fan of him, if you try and get more copies of him, it's gonna be a pain in the ass. So you should try and summon on a banner with him on it when you can. Again, assuming that is the dude you want. Otherwise, I think you're good probably to skip on Duryodhana for right now. He's a pretty solid AoE berserker. But the problem is that if you have already an established one, like let's say Summer Ibuki, there's no reason to have him other than I like the style that he's kind of got going on because he's a Paco unit. And he's got a wolf howling in the back, whichever one of those. But yeah, that's him. I've already kind of explained. If you want him more in depth, you can look at the Bima video where I go over his skills and stuff like that. But for this video, is mainly about Durga. So let's go into Durga, shall we? She is an archer. She has 2 quick, 2 arts, 1 buster, 4 hits on the quick, 4 hits on the arts, 5 hits on buster, and 5 hits on extra. Her first skill is the Mahamaya EX, charges own MP gauge, and then overcharges the party's MP by 1 stage for 1 time, 3 turns. 50% MP charge on a cooldown of 6. At level 10, the unapproachable one grants self invincibility for 3 attacks, 3 turns, increases own quick, arts, and buster performance for 3 turns. It's 20% to all 3 of those, with this being on a cooldown of 6, and that is her second skill. Her third skill is the Third Eye EX, which is an increase to own MP damage for 3 turns, changes all command codes typed to arts for 1 turn, ignore invincibility for 1 turn, and then the MP damage you get from this is 30% and the cooldown is 5. Her passive skills are Magic Resistance A, Writing A, Independent Action C, and Goddess Essence B, along with Divinely Bestowed Arms EX, an increased own arts performance by 10%, and the same is true for crit damage, which is increased by 10%. Her third skill is an anti-berserker, attack damage aptitude, and her noble phantasm is the Mari Sasura Mardini, O Rage Desire, and Demon Massacring Goddess. Rank EX, its arts. Its noble phantasm type is Massacre, which is very funny to me. It hits 8 times. Increases own damage against enemies with a Sky attribute by 50% for 1 turn. This activates first. It then deals damage to all enemies, reduces their defense by 20% for 3 turns. And then the MP level 1, it's 450% damage, and if you get it all the way to MP level 5, it's 750%. And then deal extra damage against demonic enemies is the overcharge effect, with it being at charge level 1, it's 150%, and if you get her all the way to the final charge level, it's 200%. And that is Durga. So, is Durga good? The answer is yes, she is very good. Is she better than a lot of the other AoE options that you have? Not necessarily. Still very good for sure and can be very useful. But if you're someone who's specifically looking and saying, hey, I already have an established AoE archer, should I look to replacing? And the answer is usually going to end up being no. But if you do need an archer for AoE, or you're a big fan of her, then this is a perfectly good unit for you to go for. In terms of what she does, there's a lot of stuff that I like. The ability to overcharge works very well with Castoria teams, because, you know, all arts, that will increase your Castoria's chances of giving you, not increase the chances, she will give extra defense to it, which can be pretty nice. And if you're with Lady Avalon, then you can get some additional stuff from that as well. And since it's so easy to literally have overcharge with all arts members, you can end up having some pretty silly single rotations of a bunch of NPs going off at once. In terms of her second skill, I think it's a nice little bit of defense along with increasing of attack. 3 attacks over 3 turns is pretty nice because that means if they just choose not to hit her for a couple turns, she'll keep it around for a bit until they decide to finally hit her. Obviously, it doesn't matter if you're fighting against an enemy that if she's the only one left, she's going to get hit 3 times. Either way, still pretty nice. Especially if, let's say, they use a skill and they hit you twice and then they save it for the next one. It's pretty nice. I like it. And the third eye one here has an interesting gimmick because it changes all your command codes types to arts. Of obviously just Durga's, I believe, because it changes all own command cards types to arts, which can be pretty funny. With Lady Avalon and stuff like that, you can get you can have one good rotation where you can, in theory, have the 2 other, either go full 3 arts or go 2 of them, depending if you want to set up the Noble Phantasm first, and actually be able to crit using those arts cards. Unfortunately, arts really isn't known for it's more for NP gain, so it's very nice for NP gain. But if you're looking for damage, unfortunately, that's where Buster lives, so it's not as crazy. The other person who has this type of effect is Saber, and that one's awesome, because you can just go full gorilla on that one. I believe Saber's also is better because it changes all cards to just be hers and Buster, and it's very, very funny. But still, it's an interesting effect to have for sure. Ignore Invincibility is also nice. It only lasting a single turn kind of sucks. The only reason I say that is because someone who has dealt with Lost Belt 7, it would be nice if it was 3 turns. Ignore Invincibility for 1 turn can be still pretty sweet if you can use it as a reactionary thing, but in Lost Belt 7, there's some of those bosses literally reapply it again and again and again, so if you don't kill them in the first turn after activating this, it's kind of like, well, unfortunate, but okay. Another nice thing that she has, all her passive skills, she actually has in her passive skill a 42.5% debuff resistance, which can come in handy in some very, very niche challenge quests where they're just heavy debuff focused. You have an insanely high built-in debuff resistance, which is not a common thing for most servants that I can think of. This is definitely one of the first I've seen that it's reached 40%, I think, in a while. You can let me know if there's others like this, because it's actually a very interesting kind of like, oh yeah, these just stack on top of them and stuff like that. And her Noble Phantasm can also be very useful if you're going against a demonic or sky attribute style enemies. Demonic is something you fight a whole bunch, so you'll likely see it a whole bunch. So again, I do think a lot of this stuff the one thing that's kind of a bummer is that this reduced their defense by 20% for 3 turns, activates after. So that means you'll deal your damage and then they'll lose 20% defense. I believe that's how it works. Just because Sky Attribute activates first. If this activated first, it would tell you, and this always activates during the Noble Phantasm, so they don't need to say it there. At least I believe that's how it works. If I'm wrong on that, feel free to correct me so I know for next time, and I'm not talking out of my head. But yeah, all that combined, it makes Durga a very solid, good unit, but nothing that she has, it has that like factor of when you read Arjuna Altar and you go, damn, this boy be hitting crits hard. It just ends up being a very, very, very good unit that if you're a fan of the character, or you like the fact that she's soccer, or you're just a big fan of women, I guess, it adds up to the point where it's like, I can see someone going for this, and if they do end up getting her, they're going to be pretty happy if they don't already have an AoE archer. But it makes it very hard to justify for someone who already kind of has an AoE archer kind of built up for themselves. It's better to save for Anniversary and maybe use Durga for like a GSSR slot. So that's the other thing to talk about, is that if you are waiting for the Anniversary, if you're a free-to-play player, you can disregard that. You basically heard what you needed to hear. You're either here saying, great, I've made my decision, I'll wait a little bit, or you were, thank you for talking for so much, but I already made my decision at the beginning of the video. I see Sakura face, I summon, I just wanted to hear you talk for like 9 minutes. Either way, I say thank you, you can leave the video, but if you're someone who is spending in the game, we do have Anniversary coming up, and Anniversary has the GSSR in it, and obviously she's in both GSSRs, the Destiny Order and the Lucky Bag. If you were going to use the Lucky Bag on her, you would have a 1 in 4 chance of getting her, which is a pretty decent shot. The other thing is that you would also have a decent shot of getting Medusa Saber, Pope Joan, or Tiamat, Larva Tiamat. So, if it was me, I would have no real issue about this. It would kind of suck if I got Pope Joan again, but at least that makes her NP2 for me, but I'm very doubtful that I would be happy with a Tiamat at NP level 2, because that's more damage. Durga, I have a feeling I'm not going to be able to get because I got my 6th copy of Cuckoo, and I feel like that's where all my luck went and died, so I'm likely not going to get anything until Anniversary/Summer, which most likely Summer. And Medusa Saber, it's the same kind of boat. I don't plan to summon that much for her just because she's so close to Anniversary. Which, if you're wondering, when is Anniversary? For NA, it shows up around the first weekend of Anime Expo, which is usually the 4th of July weekend. So it's going to be Saturday on the 5th. That's when our Anniversary is likely to be, when all this stuff goes up. So in terms of these, I think there are better GSSRs that you can probably look at and see, like, ooh, let me see, do I have these? So it requires a lot deeper thought. This is definitely a GSSR for someone who has went heavy in previous years and, like, chilled out for this year, because they're, like, going, okay, listen, Lost Belt 6 Summer is coming. I need to chill. I need to not spend anything. I need to wait. And if you skipped all the female banners except for Beast, this one is basically just pick up one of the new units, which is pretty nice. But if you were to go the other way around, and that's for 12 Saint Quartz, if you wanted to go 30 and put her on the Destiny order, which is likely what I'm going to end up doing when I don't get her, I think she ends up being a pretty solid choice for this, unless there's someone else here that you would prefer over, like Ishtar, Gilgamesh, Saber Summer, Super Orion, someone like that. But for me personally, Tesla maybe. I always bring up Tesla because his friends yelled at me for saying he wasn't as good as I thought he was, and ever since then I've been spooked into mentioning it. For me personally, it would definitely be Durga would be my choice here, just because I have a lot of the dudes here already, and she would definitely be the choice where it's like, well, I'd be very happy if I got her and stuff like that. I actually probably have to lock in my decision, because if the off chance I do get Durga in the very little multis that I kind of get for, I have to actually think pretty deeply on Archer. So yeah, that is Durga. If you're going to be summoning for her, I wish you the best of luck. I'll be joining you on the 25th along with my brother, as we are both going to be doing summons for Durga. I wish you the best of luck, and if you are saving, I wish you the best and staying strong. The anniversary is really close by at this point. You don't have to wait that much longer, and if you're waiting for going even further into the future, feel free to tell me which one you're looking into. Funny enough, there's another AoE Archer coming up, Ptolemaeus, that I remembered, like, I want to get him too. So if I got him, I was thinking in the back of my head, I was like, it would be really cool to have this old man who can turn from young to old and can go from single target to AoE Archer. But then I realized, wait a minute, that kind of defeats the purpose of getting Durga. Whatever, I'll deal with it when the time comes. Either way, I wish y'all the best of luck, and I'll see you guys in the next video, whatever it may be. Peace out. Goodbye.